Today I'm going to be discussing the latest record from Iron Maiden, the 2015 record, The Book of Souls.
Shadows and the stars, we will not return. Humanity won't save us at the speed of light. Shadows in the stars, we will not return. Humanity won't save us, we slip into the night.
So, welcome to another video. Last week I reviewed the 2006 record from Iron Maiden named A Matter of Life and Death. I have this album here. I really like this album and I reviewed it in depth last week. If you want to go check that out, I'll link it up in the description. Thought it was it's a wicked album, and yeah, I reviewed it last week, so if you're interested, go and check that one out too. Now, in the comment section to that, I said that I'll be reviewing the album The Book of Souls by Iron Maiden this week, and I am. Today we're going to be talking about this record. I have the album here, and I have the CD booklet version, and as you can tell, it's a fantastic looking, well, Maiden artwork's just fantastic anyway, but the presentation of this is fantastic. The booklet inside looks like this, the colour really pops out as well. I think it looks fantastic. As you open it up, we've got two CDs at the back because it is a double album, and there's lots of artwork and lyrics and stuff. Lyrics look cool as well. I think the artwork really ties into the Mayan theme that goes throughout this record. It just looks really good. Lots of artwork and stuff inside. So yeah, I really like the artwork that the Book of Souls has. There was also the Book of Souls live chapter, which came a year later, 2 years later even, after the Book of Souls tour. I saw them twice on the Book of Souls tour. I saw them in Nottingham, the first UK date they did, and at the O2 in London, the second to last UK date they did. And Nottingham I was right at the front for, which was amazing. At the O2 I was high up. So you saw it from both sides, and it was a fantastic tour. This was like 666 was. This was recorded. Each song was recorded at a different show, different city around the world. Again, it's set out quite similar. Looks fantastic too. This one was actually a gift from a friend of mine, Tom, who was on a couple of the other videos I've done on this channel. But yeah, I mean, again, the artwork looks superb. Again, tying in with the Mayan theme. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic tour. It was a really good tour in support of a fantastic record. Now, in 2014, I think it was, we found out, was it 15? I think it was 14. During the recording of the album, well, Bruce Dickinson, the vocalist of the band, was diagnosed with throat cancer. So he was recording the vocals of the record, everything was going really well apparently, and he discovered a lump in his throat. Now he waited to finish recording the album until he went and got help, and thankfully then beat it a little while later. But yeah, obviously this raised a lot of concerns from Maiden fans, and it was unsure what the future of Maiden would be. The album was finished at that point, and it got put on hold. I think it was about a year while Bruce recovered. And when it came out, it was just like a relief to hear, and it was fantastic as well. And yeah, I mean, it's just fantastic that everything sort of got settled how it did. And that Bruce thankfully beat it. But yeah, The Book of Souls. It was an album long in the making. It was 5 years after the band's previous effort, which was The Final Frontier, which dropped in 2010. I saw them on that tour for the first time, 2011, Nottingham, which was great. But The Final Frontier was it was a pretty good album, but it wasn't the best Maiden record. I feel like there were some great songs on there, such as When the Wind Blows, and The Man Who Would Be King, you know, things like that. Coming Home was also good, but it wasn't the best Maiden album. I felt like there was some filler on there too. And yeah, 5 years later, I mean, Maiden announced they're doing a double album, and I was partly very excited for this, but then a little bit nervous as well. Now I was excited because we were getting a lot more Maiden material with the record being a double album, but then On the contrary to that, I was worried that the album might get a bit boring after a while. Because, for example, Use Your Illusion by Guns N' Roses, I felt like if that was condensed down to one really, really good album, it would have been way better. And I was just concerned that after Final Frontier, if Maiden did a double album and not all of it was amazing, I felt like it was a risk that it would drag on. And when I heard the album, that worry soon disappeared. So for the first time in 5 years, we had new Maiden music, 2015, and we're going to get into the tracks now and do an in-depth review of The Book of Souls by Iron Maiden. So the first song on the record is If Eternity Should Fail. Now this straight away shows quite a bold statement to open the album with. It's 8 minutes long, and it's the first Maiden song to be recorded in drop D, if I remember correctly. Bruce had used it in his solo music, but he hadn't used it in Iron Maiden. Now, this is such a heavy opener for Iron Maiden. It's got quite a long atmospheric intro with Bruce's vocals over the top. It sounds amazing, and then it just kicks into this classic Maiden riff, these like classic Maiden lead parts. And it's quite heavy for them, and it's one of the heaviest openers I'd say we've heard from a Maiden record. And then it's got this huge sounding chorus, and the song takes you for a lot of twists and turns. There's a section where it goes quite fast paced, and we get the solos and stuff. And yeah, it sounds fantastic. And then at the end of this opening burst of energy to this album, we have an acoustic outro of Bruce's spoken word over it, which sounds very haunting and very good. And this goes into the next song on the record, which is the shortest song, and I'd say the most fun song as well, which is Speed of Light. Now, Speed of Light was the first single as well from the record, and I can see why they did this track, because a lot of the album is very ambitious and very progressive, and a lot of it being quite dark, and this song it's more fun, more short. It was a perfect single for the record. Now, this song's more of a classic Maiden track. It's got the classic lead parts, classic Maiden riffs, huge sound sing-along chorus. That's why it was such a good live staple on the tour. And yeah, Speed of Light is a pretty cool track, and it works where it is on the album as well. I think like after such a dark and heavy intro, I felt like Speed of Light was just a burst of energy, which was very catchy as well. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it was a cool song. Not the best song on the record, but I don't think it was meant to be. Felt like it was just meant to be more of a straightforward, in-your-face, hard-hitting, catchy tune, and it served its purpose very well. Next on the record is The Great Unknown, which was also played on the tour, and this song is very vocally challenging, which makes me really be amazed at the fact that Bruce was ill when recording this record. The verses are very, very high with these there's like offbeats and a sort of weird time signature, while Bruce is hitting these really high notes. And then the chorus just kicks in, and it's a huge sounding chorus. And this song's very, very vocally intense, and Bruce pulled it off on the tour really well. And yeah, it's a very cool song. It's about 6 minutes long, and it fits really nicely. It's the third song on the record, and it transitions in nicely into the first real long song on the album at 14 minutes, which is The Red and the Black, which is where we really start to see this progressive metal direction that Maiden were going in on this record. This was a song written by Steve Harris, the bassist of the band, and the intro has these like bass chords that sound very cool. And then it kicks into this huge sounding riff, and then these huge epic big sounding verses. It sounds really, really good. And then there's this chorus to this song is fantastic. Again, very, very big sounding, and yeah, Red and the Black's great. And again, it takes you for a lot of twists and turns throughout its duration. It keeps you interested during its 14-minute duration as well. There's some great Maiden solos in there. There's almost a section that reminded me of sort of being on a ship and sailing with the catchy hooks. I'll play the section that specifically reminded me of that for some reason. But yeah, I mean, Red and Black, very, very good song. It was amazing live too. After this, we have When the River Runs Deep, which was such a, again, such a vocally difficult song. The intro especially is so high from Bruce, and it makes me really amazed that he recorded this album with throat cancer. The vocals are fantastic on this track. Again, this is a little bit more of a traditional Maiden song. We have the classic Maiden sound throughout it. It's a bit of a shorter song, and it fits really well where it is on the record, because it's between two very long songs, The Red and the Black at 14 minutes and The Book of Souls at just over 10. So I felt like this shorter song in between them worked really, really well. There's some fantastic solos on this song, and huge sounding chorus again, so yeah, I really dig this track. Next on the album is one of my favourites on it, called The Book of Souls, the title track. This song covers the theme of the Mayans and their sort of downfall, which Bruce spoke about on the tour. This song was really good on the tour as well, I remember this. It has this acoustic intro, which sounds really, really good. It's quite an eerie sounding intro, and it kicks into this very, this pretty heavy, again this is quite a heavy song for Maiden, kicks into this very heavy riff, well, a heavy riff for Maiden. And these huge high vocals from Bruce, these are very powerful vocals from Bruce even, and this song just builds and builds and builds. It's got a big chorus, and again throughout its 10-minute duration it really manages to keep you intrigued of what's going on. There's a lot of twists and turns going on this song to keep you interested. It's definitely very progressive, and yeah, it's just a fantastic track. This was the song on the tour that the Eddie walked out to during the many solos on this song. Maiden's guitar players always manage to feed off each other so well, and the chemistry they have is fantastic, and it's really shown on this track, The Book of Souls. There's some amazing solos, but yeah, it doesn't stray too far from the classic Maiden sound that we know and love, but at the same time it's still showing progression and something a bit new from Maiden, and yeah, it's a fantastic track and one that I really love. Next on the album is one of the shortest songs on it, called Death or Glory. Now this song was again a very fun live staple, covering war, which is a theme that has happened through a lot of Maiden material, even the early stuff, like if you're looking at the older records, songs like Ace is High, it being a classic one, obviously The Trooper on Peace of Mind. But I mean, I discussed about Life and Death last week, and most of that album, as you can tell from the album cover, is about war. There's not so much of it on this album. I think they've mixed the themes up quite a bit. Got a lot of it covering the mines and things, and I think that's very clever. There's a song on here about Robin Williams. There's a song on here about the R101 airship crashing, and I think this album explores a few more themes from Maiden. I think that's very, very clever and very cool on such a statement album. Really, it's an album that really does show that Maiden is still hungry and trying new things. But anyway, getting back to the point, Death or Glory. It's a fast. I think this was the first song on the second half of the record. This song is just a ball of energy, and it's 5-minute duration. It kicks in, it's fast paced, it's got a galloping it's got a galloping feel to it, like The Trooper did back in the day. And this song's just a fantastic track. Again, very huge sounding vocals from Bruce on this song, and it's got a big sounding chorus. It has the line "Climb like a monkey," which was a historical reference, I think. Can't remember who said it, but yeah, it was a historical reference. Climb like a monkey out of hell where I belong. And on the tour I got everyone doing the climb like a monkey thing. It was all good fun, but yeah, the song, and Bruce came out wearing a monkey hat and all sorts of stuff.
Climb like a monkey!
yeah, this song's just a burst of energy after one of the most progressive and long tracks on the record. In the Book of Souls, quite a heavy song. This song just really kicks into life and it helps the album to flow really well. And I enjoy it. It's a cool song. A bit more of a classic Maiden track too. Next is the song Shadows of the Valley. Shadows of the Valley is a fantastic track. I love the chorus on this song. It's not as strong as songs like The Book of Souls or If Eternity Should Fail, but it is a really, really good song. It's got one of my favourite choruses on the album, I'd say. And it starts off quite slow and just builds into this huge Maiden song. And yeah, I enjoy it. It's a bit of a shorter song. I think it's about 6 minutes long. And I think it's a cool song. And some very cool lyrics here too, and some impressive vocals again from Mr. Dickinson on vocals. So yeah, it's a cool song. Next is the song Tears of a Clown. Now this was a pretty different theme from Maiden. I think this was written by Steve Harris, and Bruce Dickinson recorded singing the vocals with the lyrics that Steve had written. And he said something like, "Wow, this is amazing. What was this about?" And when he explained it was about Robin Williams, or inspired by Robin Williams, it all made sense. And I think this song was a pretty different theme for Maiden to cover. And I think it was a very important one to cover too. Now, the title Tears of a Clown is a very appropriate song for it. Very important title for it, I think. And yeah, I think this is just a great song. It's a bit more melancholic than some of the album I've heard so far. So say songs like, we've had songs like Speed of Light and Death of Glory, which are just 5-minute bursts of energy. We've had songs like The Red and the Black and The Book of Souls, which are huge sounding epic songs. And Tears of a Clown just seems a little bit more melancholic, a little bit more slow and dark. And it almost seems, it's quite a sad song when you really read the lyrics. Lyrics such as "Smile for camera's all okay, but tomorrow is another day he must get through. Wonder why he's feeling down, tears of a clown." And it's a very, very good song actually. It's not so progressive, it's not so out there, it's not so, fast paced, and it's just more of a, it's a song that kind of sits in the back pocket a little bit and serves its purpose really well, with some of the strongest lyrics on the album. And I really love it. I really love the theme that it's about. I think it's an important topic to cover. And it's got a fantastic chorus as well that really sticks with you. And yeah, it's a great track. This leads into The Man of Sorrows, which is a song that starts off very beautiful and very slow. Again, quite a melancholic feel to it. And it starts off quite beautiful with Bruce singing quite softly over these beautiful lead parts. With the lyrics like a man without a home, watching people come and go. And I love the intro to this song, and then it builds into quite a classic Maiden riff again. And yeah, this song is not one of the strongest songs on the album, I don't think. I'd say it was a little bit more forgettable than some of the previous tracks, but that doesn't take away from it. It is still a very good song. And again, I love the chorus on this song. There's some great solos and stuff as well. And yeah, it's a cool song. But the next song and the final song on the album, I could do a whole video about by itself, which is the 18-minute epic Empire of the Clouds.
To ride the storm to an empire of the clouds. To ride the storm, they climbed aboard their silver ghost.
This song, Empire of the Clouds, is absolutely unreal. One of my favourite tracks of all time, just because of how ambitious it is, how clever it is, and how amazing it is. It covers the theme of the R101 airship that crashed in France. It took off from Cardenton, Bedfordshire, and crashed in France after getting caught in a storm. Now, I don't live too far from Bedfordshire, and I have actually visited Cardenton hangars, and I found the mast site. Me and my dad found it on Google Maps. We went to the mast site of where the R101 took off from. It's now just a rusty shed, but I'll link that video up in the description as well if you're interested in seeing a bit of local history. Yeah. Yeah. But this was inspired after we heard this song, and it's just like a reminder of such a crazy part of history that's often overlooked. Now, this song's 18 minutes long, and it's got a lot of piano in there and some classical influences as well. And this is just progressive masterpiece, this song. Bruce wrote it after apparently winning a piano at a raffle and learning to play it while he was ill. And he just started writing this song, and it just turned into this huge epic Maiden track. To me, one of the best songs they've ever done, and it just shows that, you know, was this like years into their career, and many albums into their career, that they're still hungry. They're not just rehashing the old same songs over and over again. They're still able. This is probably the most ambitious track they've ever done, and yet it's many years into their career, and it just shows they're still hungry, they're still making great music, and yeah, they're not just relying off copy and pasting the same songs they've done for years, you know. Now, this song was also released on Record Store Day as a limited edition vinyl. There's only 500 in the world. Picture this vinyl, and it is just fantastic. It's just beautiful. I just love it. I think that this is definitely one of the coolest things I own. Yeah, it's just an amazing track to end the album with. Now, it starts off with this piano part with Bruce singing over the top. When a couple of minutes into it, when the rest of the band kicks in, it's still quite slow. It's quite melancholic, and then it just kicks into this. Bruce really just utilises his vocals a lot here. He sings quite high. There's a lot of piano throughout the song. There's a section where the drums go into weird time. I think it was Morse code for SOS. And there's a lot of amazing solos here. There's a lot, and it's just I could do a whole video on this song. I might do it at some point because it is just truly amazing. There's a section, the end section, where the song seemingly finishes, kicks back in, and then Bruce hits this really beautiful outro where he's saying, "The dreamers may die, but the dreams live on," and I think that's a really great ending to the record. With that line, the song just clocks in at 18 minutes, and I'm not even going to say much more about it. Just do yourself a favour, I'll link it up in the description. Just listen to the whole song because it is just absolutely incredible, and arguably one of the best songs you'll ever hear. I absolutely love it. So overall, what an album. I'm going to get into a bit more of the production stuff now as well. So I felt like the production on this album, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm just nitpicking here. I felt like I'd love to hear like Andy Sneap or someone do the next Maiden album. I think that at times Maiden's production nowadays, sometimes the guitars can seem a little bit lifeless compared to what they do live, and I'd love to hear on their next record that the production really bursts out, like Judas Priest's last album Firepower did. I think that Andy Sneap did a fantastic job at blending that old school vibe. It still sounded old school, but yeah, it had this heavy modern production on it, and I'd love to hear the next Maiden album sound like that. But by no means am I criticising this album's production. I think the album, I prefer the production on this album to The Final Frontier quite a bit. I think like The Final Frontier was a bit lifeless in places compared to what it was live. But then Maiden have always been, in my opinion, a better live band than they have a studio band. But that's just me nitpicking because this album is practically flawless. Obviously some songs are stronger than others, but when you get an album this length, that's not surprising. My personal favourites would be If Eternity Should Fail, The Red and the Black, Book of Souls, Tears of a Clown, and Empire of the Clouds. This album is one of the best Maiden albums which you wouldn't expect from a band that have had such an amazing legacy over the years. And it's such an ambitious record as well. I spoke about this in my review of A Matter of Life and Death. For a band that are so deep into their career and have done so many records and so many tours and been through so much, they could just play the same thing over and over again and be done with it. But they're still making a statement. I feel like they've done that on A Matter of Life and Death, which I spoke about in that review, and they've done it even more so here. This album is just so ambitious for a band of Maiden's nature. They have nothing to prove anymore. They've proved that they're a legendary band. They've proved that they could do an amazing comeback when Bruce came back in 2000, and they have no point to make. But yet they still come out and then, well, years into their career, they make this album, which is one of the most ambitious things of their career, and one of the best, I think. I was just lost for words when I heard this album. There's so much to unpack and unravel, and it's just an incredible record. How there's the catchy, more fun, upbeat Maiden songs, but then there's also these huge, epic juggernauts of songs that clock into like 14 minutes and 18 minutes and things like that. And then there's also these just like more classic but still quite melancholic, darker Maiden songs. You know, the Man of Sorrows and Shadows of the Valley and songs like that. This album has it all, and it really is a stunning record from start to finish. I'm going to give Book of Souls a 5 out of 5 because there is no other band that I can name that could make an album this strong, this ambitious, never mind with a vocalist who was suffering from throat cancer at the time. And it is just a stunning record, a really, really strong record, and I absolutely love it. I'm not even going to say anything more about it, just go and check it out. The Book of Souls by Iron Maiden is a masterpiece, 5 out of 5. So, that is all for this video. I'm going to film another one, I think, today as well, so might get 2 uploads today. If you enjoyed this review and you want to see more, I've also reviewed Matter of Life and Death, as I mentioned. I'll link that up in the description, so please do check that out. I'm hoping to do some more Maiden reviews in the future. Well, I definitely will, just don't know when, because there's so much stuff I want to be reviewing. There's some new music too. I'm going to be reviewing the new Raven Age album when it comes out. I think that's 8th of March. That's got Steve Harris's son George Harris on guitar. I've seen Raven Age as well. But yeah, I'll get into that another time. Please do subscribe if you enjoyed. There's loads more content like this coming soon. And yeah, just thank you for watching, and thank you for your continued support, and I'll see you all soon.